Good morning to you.
Hello, good morning.
Now, of course, we all know the reason why we actually had the first referendum back in 2016 was because of pressure from UKIP on the Conservatives, on the Eurosceptics side of that party to actually say, look, basically the Tory party wouldn't have got elected in 2015 if they hadn't promised that manifesto. Do you think we are going to get a second referendum? And if so, what should the question be?
Well, I don't think we will, because I think what would the question be on? Because, first of all, is it on the deal that Mrs May is offering? And that, of course, has been rejected by Parliament. She's now got to go back and try to cobble something else together with the European Union. But what's more important than the deal is actually the relationship agreement that comes afterwards, because that's how we're going to interact with the EU. So what would the referendum be about? There's only really one meaningful question, and we had that. Do you want to remain in the EU, or do you want to leave in the EU? And the government was supposed to get on with the job of actually taking us out. And 2 years and 8 months later, we're not really that much closer to it than we were. We have the Withdrawal Act, which says that we leave on the 29th, but that date can be amended within the Act. And, of course, what we were just hearing there, marvellous exposition by Ross there, a very complicated subject, but it is possible that the date could be put back if there is a unanimous agreement of the Council of the European Union. And, of course, they don't want us to leave anyway. So what I'm predicting, and I hope I'm wrong, actually, Julia, is that they may well extend Article 50. She will come back with a deal which includes no guarantees on the backstop, which includes the customs union. So we haven't really left. So if that does get past Parliament, then we've left with a not really leaving deal. And then what we'll see is another 2-year propaganda campaign by the mainstream media to say, well, it was all a big mistake, we shouldn't have left, and we'll go back in. And we could see the next government, when Theresa May steps down, or the next general election, both of the main parties saying that it was a mistake and we need to go back in. I think this is a betrayal that has been engineered from the day after the referendum.
Well, again, I think there are a lot of people who are listening who will be worried about that. And of course, we know within the next 3 months, 23rd of May, we've got the European elections. If we're still in the EU at that time, surely we should be standing candidates, and that may end up being in itself a second referendum. But in terms of what the Sir Keir Starmer has been saying this morning, the shadow Brexit secretary, we know he's been pushing for a second referendum. He's Remain into his bones. Yeah. He's saying the choice on the ballot paper should be between Remain and his words, a credible leave option, and not a no deal. That should not be one of the options. In the event that it is a choice between effectively the Prime Minister's withdrawal agreement and Remain, would you be endorsing either of those options, or would you be endorsing a decision to basically boycott the ballot?
Well, if you see, this is a very neat trick for them to arrive at if they can, because I wouldn't endorse either of those options, because I certainly don't want to remain, and leaving with her leaving deal as it currently stands is not really leaving at all. And if you boycotted the referendum, all that would happen would be that they would say, well, the people who didn't vote couldn't be bothered to vote, and they'll hope to get a Remain vote in that referendum. So what I've got to do as UKIP is to make UKIP a credible electoral threat again, because, as you rightly said, the only reason we got it is because UKIP was taking votes away from the political establishment from both sides. Okay. And the only way anything is going to change in this country is if UKIP actually then starts to take votes or go away again in significant numbers from Tory and Labour.
Although, of course, we now have the advent of Nigel Farage's new Brexit party. We'll have to leave it there. Gerard Batten, a UKIP leader, thank you for joining us. Let's talk now to Charlie Mullins. He's the founder and chief executive of Pimlico Plumbers, and someone who is very much a big fan of Remain, and indeed such a dislike of Leave. He's actually got huge big posters, billboards up saying a B word I'm not allowed to say on air to Brexit. But he joins us now. Good morning to you, Charlie.
Yeah, go on, Julia.
Good morning to you. Well, I mean, you've very much been someone who doesn't want us to leave the EU, so presumably you're very happy today that leader of the Labour Party is talking about a second referendum.
Well, that's right. I think it was always going to happen. There's no way we could leave with no deal. And I think all of a sudden everybody's starting to see a bit of sense. You know, we're being led over the cliff edge here, and all of a sudden now people can see it can't be like that no more. She's done a U-turn on it. Obviously, you know, a lot of this, the situation we're in now is because of the way Theresa May's gone around it. And now it gives us some hope that it will get delayed. I mean, everybody's pussyfooting around. There's no way that we're going to accept. I believe Labour are going to come up with their deal. Parliament are not going to accept that. They're not going to accept Theresa May's deal. She can't change it. EU have said it's non-negotiable. So the writing's on the wall. It will be delayed. And that's the best thing I think can happen at this stage.
Even though that's not what the British people voted for?
Well, Juliet, you know that we could argue about that all day long.
Well, but it is kind of the crucial fact, isn't it, Charlie?
Well, yeah, but at the end of the day, it's not my fault. It's Theresa May's fault. It's the government's fault. It's Parliament's fault. It's them that have done the mess up. It's not the public that's done it. We was given a vote whether it was to leave or remain, and now everything's come out in the open, and all the misleading that was gone on there. Now at least we're back to a level playing field. We can renegotiate and maybe take this uncertainty away in business, because at the moment it's absolutely destroying everything out there as far as business goes.
Well, you say destroying, but of course actually our economy is doing rather better than the other countries which aren't actually having Brexit. Now, you switched your allegiance from the Tories to the Liberal Democrats last year in terms of your financial backing. You gave 25 grand to the Lib Dems as part of your opposition to Brexit. Are you now thinking you might transfer that support to the independent group, the Tiggers?
No, undoubtedly. Anything I think that can either give us a no Brexit or a better Brexit, then I'm going to support. You know, we've got to think of our future. We've got to think of the economy, and I believe that all this has come about. It's not coincidence that she's done a U-turn. It's not coincidence that Labour are also going to back a second referendum. This is all because the independent group is set up, and they obviously realise they're going to lose numbers to these people if they don't start getting their act together.
So your money is available to the likes of Chukra Munna and Anna Soubry and others?
Undoubtedly. You know, you talk about them as if they're bad people.
I don't.
I mean, they're very... Well, you're sort of saying, as if to say you're giving them their money. I mean, I'm giving it what I believe for the good of the country, and I think they're very brave people to do what they've done, and hopefully progress from there. And undoubtedly, more and more people or MPs will follow with them. And now I think, Conservatives and Labour, they haven't got it all their own way. They've got to put their act together, and it's about time too. We've had enough of this messing about.
Look, I think everyone agrees there's messing about. You and I are fairly opposite sides of this debate, but we'll definitely agree on that. And a lot of fault goes down to the Conservative government, no question at all. However, do you worry in terms of the effects on business, effects on our economy, in terms of a breakdown of trust in a democracy, in the sort of the way that we decide things at the ballot box, and that democratic votes are respected? Do you worry at all that the knock-on effect of a second referendum could be actually to destroy trust in democracy, and that could have long-term repercussions that could be far more damaging than anything else?
Well, you say that. Of course, it's worrying. I mean, anything's worrying. But you've got a political party here that's allowing their ministers to tell businesses to go F themselves. So everything's worrying on it. But I think at the moment we're in a much better situation. That we've got 2 years, I believe it's going to be, to renegotiate. Obviously, we can now have another leader, somebody that can lead. Let's hope they can get someone who's got some common sense. I mean, she says she's going to step down after, I think, the 29th anyhow, so obviously her days are numbered.
I believe that when I see it.
Oh, you believe me, next time me and you will have a chat, she won't be there. You call me just about the 20th or after the 13th when we decided that... I
won't be able to call you on the 30th because I'm going to have a really bad hangover after my leave party. Charlie Mullins, founder and chief exec of Pimlico Plumbers, thank you very much.